A Seattle family and their two cats, one of the cats blind, helping spread awareness for other folks with blindness.
It's such a great story. They're now actually taking their mission to space, which we'll get to in a moment. Joining us this morning to explain is Mick and his cat friends, Oskar and Klaus. Good morning to all three of you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us on.
We've been watching the two of them, and they clearly love each other and get along. What's their relationship like? Who helps whom?
I don't know if there's... You know, a lot of people assume that Klaus helps Oskar since Oskar is blind, and that's certainly not the case. I think that they're both, capable of doing everything they need to do at home. The relationship for the most part is like this: a lot of cuddling, a lot of sleeping, a lot of grooming, and that's maybe 20 hours out of the day, and the other 4 hours, a lot of play. I mean, they really interact well together.
So these two are famous, internet famous, and really now famous publishing-wise, and soon to be space famous as well. What's the thing that really launched their career as stars?
Oscar's YouTube video from October of 2011. So
he was right here.
Yeah, he was only
4
or 5 months old at the time when we filmed this, and that's my wife holding a hairdryer. That's something she did every morning.
Every morning?
Yeah, she would. He wants to play, and he likes exploring his world. So he would engage with the air coming out of there. She holds down that hold air button.
That's amazing.
And does, the Rocky boxing thing there. And that really is a great cat video because you can see 5 seconds of the video, it's funny, or you can watch the whole thing and then be blown away by, the fact that he stands on his legs for, 25 seconds. So, that spread like wildfire. Around the world, different TV stations picked it up, Ellen and other TV shows. So a lot of people at that point started asking questions. What is it like living with a blind cat? So we expanded to other social media to share our story and experience.
And it brought you to do some incredible work with the National Federation of the Blind. Talk a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Ultimately, the National Federation of the Blind discovered the children's books that we started writing featuring Oskar and Klaus. And they love the fact that Oskar is a character who is not defined by blindness. He's an adventurous cat, but in no ways is he exceptional. This isn't some, character with superpowers or anything like that. So he is a really good role model for a lot of kids, that you just have to explore the world around you, gain independence. And we received a very generous grant to convert a portion of the books into Braille. And that really is a big deal because it allows us to sell the books in print versions and Braille versions for the same low price and reach an all-new audience. We worked on making audiobooks to make the story accessible to others. And ultimately, Oskar became not only a card-carrying member of the NFB, but also a Braille literacy ambassador. Wow. A lot of cool projects in the works.
Look at that. You can see there. That's one of the
here's one of the books, and you can see the Braille up here. These are just beautiful books, beautifully illustrated, and the stories are just really fantastic. I mean, the message is just such a... It's like you said, it's not about being extraordinary. It's about being extraordinary for different reasons, for being...
yourself.
Right.
Yeah. And living the life that you want to live.
Right.
Oskar wants to explore, and that's what he does.
And space. So when we talk about launching something into space, that is a huge deal. How did that come about? And we have the book.
We do.
Yes.
And this particular book is going to be launched into space. So where did this conversation start?
The conversation started with an organization called Storytime from Space. And this is an organization consisting of former astronauts and educators working together to really get kids interested in science and space exploration at an early age. And they actually were a backer of the book since we funded the initial printing of it via Kickstarter. And we kind of kept the conversation going, and they loved the fact that the book, even though it's sci-fi and there's some kind of out there elements to it, other than the cats, having spacesuits and so on. But, it doesn't really perpetuate any misconceptions about space travel. There's some factual information there, like the escape velocity to leave the planet and so on. So they really like that scientific aspect, even though it's a children's book. And they suggested that this should be a book that actually goes up to the International Space Station. And at this point, it is scheduled to launch on August 1st, actually via a SpaceX rocket from Florida. So that's super exciting.
That is exciting, but you need a little bit of help, it sounds like, or maybe a lot of help.
Well, the majority of the cost is obviously covered and figured out by Storytime from Space, but as an author, I am responsible for materials testing to make sure that the book doesn't contain toxic materials and that it's cleared by a NASA lab to travel up there. And, there is some cost involved there, and the creative way of getting that funding, we decided to sell shirts featuring Oskar and the International Space Station, and they are available on OskarIntoOrbit.com. And you can purchase a shirt, and it actually has Braille on it that's readable. If you can use your finger to run across that, you can read what it says. And this will help us raise the funds necessary to offset that lab bill. It's a government lab, you can imagine. You know, it's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
Well, we are just so appreciative, Mick, of you sharing our story, and same to you, Klaus and Oskar. Look how just chill they are.
Leave them here the whole day.
I know they're used to being on TV. They're like, we're stars.
We're famous.
Come
More famous
on.
than you.
Don't be
They are,
jealous.
for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.